The Villa Girls, the OGs, did what needed to be done. Period. Hi, thanks for coming to my channel. I'm Lexi and I'll be discussing Love Island USA episode 21 today. And baby, this was literally the best episode of Love Island this season for sure. The best recoupling that I have seen in a while. So I want to start out by just pointing out that I'm not a stan of any of these islanders. Yes, I have people who I like based on how they have been behaving in the season so far, but I'm not coming in as a stan. I realize that a lot of people, they have favorites or they don't like this person, so they'll approach this topic from like a more biased standpoint, but I think I'm pretty unbiased, I'll say that. So I'll start out with the first couple who walked in. I mean, Caleb and Jen, they were single, so no need to comment on them. We already knew they would bring someone back, so there were no real surprises there. Actually, no, Jen choosing Gal, or whatever his name is, Mr. Mustache Man, that was a little silly to me because he's made it clear that his preference is Kenzie. Like, Kenzie is who he actually desires. So Jen choosing him, I know she's going based off who she likes, but also Jen, like, he's not liking you. So at this point, you just gave Kenzie another option. It's like, I'd rather go for someone who I don't like as much, but at least they'd be willing to try with me. Like, Gal is not interested in you. So that was kind of, I think, a silly decision on her end. Next was Caleb. We all know that Caleb and Jaden, they don't really like each other, but there weren't many options there. They just kind of came together and it is what it is. Okay, they're going to be voted out. When we have that mass dumping, more than likely they'll be voted out. Then Corbin, the clown, walks in, and these are not my words, okay? These are Armida's words. These are her words. He's a clown. They walk in, and the girls immediately started booing tomato, and I was dying of laughter because this is a TV show, right? And we need these moments for entertainment. And you know why it was hilarious? Because Corbin had a lot to say about how they're gonna walk in looking so good and they're going to run the villa, they'll run the villa, blah, blah, blah. So him getting that entrance showed him immediately who ran the villa and what's going to be up. Okay, Corbin, this is not the clown show. This is not your show. This ain't the Corbin show. I know the producers have given you a lot of choices and made you immune from being eliminated. And that probably gave you a false sense of what's going on. But this ain't the Corbin show. So I'm glad he got that entrance so he could pipe down a bit. And Corbin kept the quiet for the rest of the episode. Okay, I did not hear nada from Corbin after he got booed. Now, Parmita jumped into Corbin's defense when the girls were pretty much holding him accountable. Yes, they were upset, but they were really just like holding him accountable for his statements that he made about Kenzie, which were extremely disrespectful. It is to be expected that the girls would be angry and upset with Corbin about his statements because they were in the villa together for like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. And as soon as you leave, it wasn't even, maybe not even 2-3 hours, and you're already being disrespectful. Obviously, they are going to bring that up. Obviously, they will have emotions and strong emotions as it relates to that. So at a certain point, and after they explain that they heard these things, there's no need to be so defensive. And I think that is the issue here. And what was kind of like the common theme throughout this episode, there were a lot of wrongdoings in a sense. And instead of just holding space for each other's feelings, everyone was kind of just being very defensive. And that's why it blew up the way it did. But hello, it was good TV for me, okay? I wasn't mad at it. So yeah, Corbin, as soon as you heard that the girls saw the footage, like, just apologize. Just say, you know what? I'm not perfect. Yes, what I did, just own it. And that's the thing, like, the audience likes when people just are accountable, right? They saw you do these things. Just own it, apologize, and that is the first step to moving on. When you're getting defensive and like, but you did this, you did that, it's like, it's only going to escalate. Parmita, you had no reason to jump in. The girls were not talking to you. It was not about you. They were literally talking about what Corbin said about Kenzie. So there's no need to try to defend him. Again, he's a grown man. And I think that's where Corbin and KC kind of lost the plot. Like, they really gassed up Parmita and TT, making them think that, yeah, they're going to run this. And they spoke down a lot on the girls in the villa. And that is what made them come in feeling like they needed to defend and fight and do all of these things when they really didn't need to do that, because the girls were not mad at them at all. So moving on to Kada and Zach. Kada gave Chet, or Che, whatever his name was, the boot. She was like, nah, I'm going with my gut. I'm waiting for Zach. And Zach came in single, which his connection got kicked out of the villa because she was racist. But Zach wasn't coming back with Alana. I'm very sorry. He was not interested in that girl. And anyone who thinks that, oh, Kada doesn't know her man was, you know, his connection was kicked out of the villa, blah, 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 blah. Like, Zach was never bringing back Alana. Like, get that out of your mind. Like, yes, she was kicked out, and rightfully so, but she was never coming back to the villa, okay? They reunite, and it was cute. And at the end of the day, they're not perfect, but in terms of, like, the options that were there, like Che, I mean, Kada knew she didn't have a better connection with him. So it's like, what was the point? Like, yes, we don't really love Zach, and he doesn't treat her the way she deserves to be treated, you know, from our perspective. However, it's like, if she's not feeling Che, she doesn't like Che, what's the point of, you know, bringing him back? So I agreed with that coupling. Like, they chose each other. And that's okay. Melanie went back to Lord Farquhar. And I mean, what's new? We all knew she was never picking Corey. Corey was laying it on thick with the dates. And it was nice. I'm glad she got to have that experience. But again, she was not feeling Corey. So it's like, what is the point of choosing him? Even though we know that Sincere is insincere and, you know, he's a liar, all these things. It's like, if she's not into Corey, just be true to yourself. It's like she's being true to herself, and we have to respect these people's decisions because it's how they feel. Now, do we think it's silly and we're looking at Melanie sideways? Absolutely. But how she feels is how she feels. And I'm glad she's honest about it, because why choose Corey and then she's going to be like all over Sincere? If she chose Corey and then she's still with Sincere and doing all these things, everyone would now get mad at her. It's like, why did you choose Corey if you blah, blah, blah? So she's being real with herself. Does she look silly? And she admitted that she felt embarrassed and everything. Yes, but it is what it is. She made her choice. And if we don't like them as a couple, then they won't win. It's as simple as that. I never saw Sincere down talking Melanie the way I saw Corbin and KC talking down about their connections and just the woman in the villa in general. So even though Sincere is a liar and, you know, he can be hypocritical and, you know, a lot of things, I really can't recall him saying like anything bad about Melanie and really like downplaying her in that way. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall. Now on to Trinity, and this moment was, I don't care what anyone has to say about whether their connection was real or if it's real or fake, blah, blah, blah. This was a beautiful moment. Him running up to her like he couldn't even wait to walk in. Her speech, the fact that they both decided to like die on their shield, whatever Bryce had said, die on their shield for love. And the fact that they used the word love, like Trinity in her speech, she used the word love. And I think they're genuinely falling for each other. I don't know why a lot of people are kind of like, well, you know, with interracial relationships, there's always that aspect of people doubting the connection and with the age difference and everything. But I love it. Like, they're my top couple right now. I'm very sorry. I think they look cute together. I like them separately. I like Trinity and I like Bryce. So them put together, whether they last or not. And I mean, no one is looking necessarily for these people to get married, right? But I think they have the strongest connection in terms of their communication, how they're being honest with each other and all of that. So no one is saying they're going to get married, but there's no reason to be calling them fake and blah, blah, blah. Like, from what we've seen, I don't think, I mean, I like them together. I'll just leave it at that. And the song that they used was perfect. I thought this moment felt familiar. And I saw someone post online that that is the same song that they played with Nicolandra last year. These people, they're so funny. These producers and everyone, you know, that's involved in the creation of this show. Like, that is the same song they used with Nicolandra last year. And now they use it again with Bryce and Trinity. So that was actually hilarious. It's like I think they are setting Trinity up definitely to get the 100K to be the winners of this season for sure. They're giving them the winner's edit, I think. Now we get to the big moment where KC walks in with TT, okay? And this is where everything hit the fan. Because we weren't getting too many surprises. Like, we knew Corbin was coming in with someone else. And then Melanie got her man back. Kada got her man back. Trinity got her man back. So we were kind of like, okay, it was pretty tame. Of course, there were some clashes, but it was kind of going pretty tame until KC walks up with TT. And listen, let's not pretend like those two did not walk in prepared to be disrespectful, on 10 and ready to go. Like, TT walked in ready for a confrontation. Like, we're not going to pretend like they came in with any type of remorse or feeling of like, okay, apologetic, you know, any apologetic type feelings. Those two came in ready to put on a show. Like, let's be for real. If we're being, you know, let's be honest here. Casey was already being disrespectful to Aniyah, to all the girls in the villa, him and Corbin. We saw multiple conversations of them. And then TT also saying things about Kenzie. They were ready to come in and get some camera time. So they were just looking for the right moment for it to pop off. Like, let's be honest. So Aniyah stands there and she didn't choose Carl. And let's unpack that for a quick second before we get back to Casey. Because Aniyah, she had the biggest praise for Carl, but yet you still didn't give him a shot. And you saw what KC was doing over in Casa. You didn't see everything that we saw. However, you saw that heart rate challenge. You heard his little comments. You again got that picture of him kissing another girl. You were given a lot of clues to somewhat be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't going to go the way I want it to go. And I think Aniyah, in her mind, she was really trying to be loyal, right? I know she saw those clues, but it's like in her mind, it's like, okay, you know, he explored, but maybe in her mind, it's like, okay, they explored, but you're supposed to choose your top connection. So in her mind, she thought if she was a stronger connection, he would come back single, even though he was exploring. I see a lot of people commenting on her 3 weeks statement when she said if he wants to throw away what they had going on for 3 weeks, and they're like, oh, 3 weeks is nothing. But in the villa, we've heard the Islanders say this time and time again. 3 weeks feels like 3 months. Like, they connect very quickly because obviously the setting, like, come on. It's not like 3 days or 3 weeks in the real world. It's like the timing feels extremely different in their situation. I'm sorry she didn't choose Carl, because obviously we see how it's playing out, but I can't blame her for not choosing Carl, because at the same time, in her mind, they're exploring, but they'll come back to the stronger connection. And I think she was hoping that would be her. I cannot fault Aniyah for that. And obviously strong feelings are going to be there, right? You see Casey walking in with another girl. Any sensible person can see how that would make emotions high. Like, there is no world in which you're going to see a guy you like walk in with another woman and it's just like, okay, sunshine and rainbows. Like, no, emotions are immediately going to be high for Aniyah. And obviously she has her girlfriends there. She's crying. They're going to be mad for her. That's what I want people to be real about. Like, really think about the situation. You thought Casey would just walk in and nothing would happen. Like, obviously emotions are going to be high. Like, let's be realistic here. So they're going back and forth. You know, Ariana is asking them how they feel, yada, yada, yada. Everyone's giving their statements. And Casey was very cold toward Aniyah. very cold. If you go back and watch the scene, he did not come off as someone who had any care for this woman at all. Like, it was very obvious. He wanted to come there and embarrass her. It was very obvious. He brought up not being chosen on day one. So he's had this resentment. Like, the fact that he keeps bringing this up, he has resentment towards her, and it's informing a lot of his decisions. So the people acting like Casey didn't do anything wrong, it's like, no, you had this resentment, and he was waiting for a chance to let Aniyah feel what he felt on day one when no one was standing at that door. And not only Aniyah, but all the villa girls too. Because he threw out a blanket statement at that moment. He said, no one was standing at my door. He's mad at all the girls. He's literally mad at all the girls who were there on that first day who didn't pick him. So when people are acting like, oh, it was a conversation between just Casey and Aniyah and the other girls shouldn't have chimed in, he threw out that statement to all the girls. He was like, none of them picked me. So yes, Trinity rightfully responded. The other girls rightfully responded because he was speaking to all of them. He was mad at all of them. So it's very dishonest for people to say they should have left it between just Aniyah and Casey. Like, he was throwing jabs at everyone. Like, let's be for real. Of course, they can state their opinion. It's like, wow, you were saying all these things, doing all these things. It's like, we really thought you liked our girl, and now you're coming in like this, disrespectful. Of course, they have a right to say something. And Islanders consistently come out telling us that these recouplings, whenever they do challenges, they always say they last hours. So we literally got like chopped and diced pieces. So when people are saying, oh, Trinity shouldn't have chimed in, this person shouldn't have chimed in, they're going on for hours. So it was never just going to be Aniyah and Casey. Like, other people are going to say things based on their perspective and what they saw. They're defending their friend. That's natural. And Trinity also asked for permission and got it to make her point. At which point TT decided to jump in and interrupt. Now, I can understand why TT would feel like she wants to defend Casey. It's the how. Right? She was literally just waiting for a moment to chime in and be confrontational, because what the question that Trinity asked, she was not there for any of that. She can't answer that question. So at the point where she decided to jump in, there was no reason for her to jump in because she couldn't answer the question. She didn't know what was happening. She wasn't there. So she literally just was waiting for that chance. She decided that, okay, this is the chance. And she started telling Trinity that he's here for him. So Trinity rightfully said, no, like, I asked him a question, let him answer. And TT kept instigating. I'm not saying you should let anyone come at you crazy or whatever. However, TT is a full-on instigator. Like, there was no reason for her to take it where she took it, calling Trinity a little girl. Like, she came in prepared for them. Came in wanting to put somebody in their place. I thought she thought it would have been Aniyah, but Aniyah's girl said, listen, no, we're not leaving our girl hanging. And they rightfully let TT know what's good. And Trinity said, get her out of the villa, and that we will do. Because you're not going to come in here, little girl in Trinity. Like, that was hella disrespectful because the girls didn't say anything disrespectful towards you. So that's my 2 cents on it. You can comment below what you think, whether you agree, disagree, put it in the comments. Bye.